Hey MSM3, we are talking today about area, perimeter, and volume, none of which should be brand new, but we are talking about all of those formulas. So first of all, what is perimeter? Perimeter is the distance around the edge or edges of a shape. Has to be measured as a one-dimensional length. So think of something like putting fencing around a pool. If you were going to put fencing around a pool, that would be around the perimeter of the pool. One-dimensional because we're only measuring length. What is area? So area is the space inside a shape. It is two-dimensional. And so think about if you were going to mow a lawn. So square units covered by a lawnmower. And last but not least in this area is volume. Volume is going to be the space inside a three-dimensional shape. And that three-dimensional shape, maybe it's something like how much cereal in a cereal box. So you're talking about the space inside something that is being measured in cubic units. All right, when using a formula, you must show your work in a certain format. Find the perimeter and area of a rectangle with a length of 4 inches and a width of 7 inches. First thing we always do is make sure we have the right formula. So you'd write out your formula for perimeter of a rectangle, 2L plus 2W. You would then substitute that the length is 4 and the width is 7. Multiplication would come first. Notice everything is on the same side, so we're following the order of operations. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 7 is 14, and we get a total of 22 inches for the perimeter. Area, we make sure we have the area formula, length times width, so 4 times 7, or 28 inches squared. The units for side lengths are always one-dimensional, so they're just measured in units. Perimeter is also measured in units because perimeter is also one-dimensional, just length. Area is always going to be measured in units squared. Let me put a little 2 up here. That's because it is two-dimensional, or you could say units squared. And units for volume are always going to be in units cubed or three-dimensional. You can also write units cubed. Well, that is messy. Sorry. So important. We have a series of formulas that do have to be memorized if you haven't already done so. We've got perimeter of a square and area of a square, right? So those are the same shape. Now, squares are two-dimensional, but we can find its perimeter or we can find its area. Then we've got rectangles. Rectangles are two-dimensional. We can find the perimeter or we can find the area. Then we've got area of a circle. Now, circles do have circumference. That formula not on here at the moment. Area of a triangle, 1/2 times b times h. You can find the perimeter of a triangle by adding up the 3 sides. And area of a trapezoid, 1/2 in parentheses base 1 plus base 2 because you're finding their average times the height. Last but not least over here, three-dimensional things that we can find right now. Volume of a cube, right? If it's a cube and all of the sides are the same, then you do side cubed. If it is a prism where things are not all the same dimensions, then you have length times width times height. But on a cube, much like a square, all the sides are the same. So it says find the volume of a cube with side length 7 inches. So the first thing we have to do is we're looking for volume of a cube. So I'm going to write down V equals S cubed. First thing we start with is the formula. Second is substitution. The S stands for side length, the V stands for volume. They're telling us the side length is 7 inches. So we're like, okay, V equals 7 cubed. Notice I didn't put it where the V is because I don't know the volume. That's the thing I'm looking for. So 7 cubed is 343 inches cubed. So first comes the formula. Second comes the substitution. And then solving. And the solving can look a variety of different ways. All right, so this was a volume of a cube question. So let's look at the next one and see what type of problem we're working with. Sometimes instead of being asked to find the area, perimeter, or volume of a figure, you may be asked to find the side length. So if this is the case, you'll need to work backwards and solve an equation. Rectangle has an area of 50 centimeters squared. So we're like, okay, area rectangle. First thing I have to do, area equals length times width. If I need to flip my paper over and look, then please do that, but you write the formula first. They're telling us the area is 15 centimeters squared. We only substitute in the number, not the units. They also told us that it has a length of 10. So instead of L, I'm going to put 10 and then W. I have everything but one variable, and I know how to solve this equation. It's multiplication, right? I'm looking at the side with the variable. I see multiplication, and I'm like, okay, the inverse is division. I'm going to divide both sides by 10. 5 equals W. What does that mean? This was a word problem. It's a geometry question. The width is 5 centimeters, and we need to have an answer that has units and has words because it's a word problem. A square has a perimeter of 3.6 inches. What are the side lengths? So it's a perimeter of a square question. So the first thing we write, P equals 4S. All four sides are the same. That's our formula. Then we're going to substitute. We know the perimeter is 3.6. Put that where the P was. 4, and we don't know S. Now the side with the variable, 4S, tells me that it's multiplication. I'm going to use the inverse and divide both sides by 4. Might need to do that off to the side, or you might do it in your head. 36 divided by 4 is 9. 3.6 divided by 4 is 0.9 equals S. The side length is 0.9. I'm going to look back here, inches. Can't forget the units. A rectangular prism has a volume of 60 centimeters cubed. Then it gives us a length and a width and asks us to find the height. So we would need the volume formula for a prism. Volume equals length times width times height. Volume in that place, I'm going to put 60. Length is 2, width is 3, height unknown. Plug everything in that I have. Now, on this side with the variable, I could do divide by 2, divide by 3. I'm going to simplify that and say 60 equals 6h. I did the 2 times the 3. Now, I have to do stuff to both sides because over here I have 6h, multiplication. I'm going to divide by 6, 10 equals h. And what does that mean? The height is 10 centimeters. All right. Rectangle has a perimeter of 5.8 feet and a width of 0.6 feet. All right, so I need the perimeter formula for a rectangle. 2 times L plus 2 times W. And I'm going to plug in everything I know after I write the formula. Perimeter is 5.8, 2 times the length, don't know the length, plus 2 times the width, which is 0.6. I'm going to look over here on the right and say I can do 2 times 0.6. So 2L plus 2 times 0.6 is 1.2. And now I have your standard two-step equation. Subtract 1.2 on both sides. And this is going to be 4.6 equals 2L. Divide both sides by 2. And I get 2.3 equals L. The length is 2.3 feet. One question left, and it is area of a square. So area of a square is the first thing I need to do, write the formula. A equals S squared. Area is 4,900. On both sides, I need to do the same thing. This says S squared. I'm going to square root. Square root of 49 is 7. So square root of 4,900 is 70, only 1 0. And I would say the side length is 70. And I'm going to look back up here. The area was inches squared. So my side length, just 70 inches. Thanks for following along.